Joe Torre was the fourth choice. The veteran manager was out of work in October of 1995, 4 months removed from the third firing of his managerial career, when an old friend from his days with the Mets, Arthur Richmond, a public relations official and special advisor to Yankees owner George Steinbrenner, called him with a question. "Are you interested in managing the Yankees?" Torre made his interest known without hesitation. "Hell yeah," he said. Only 10 days earlier, Torre had interviewed for the general manager's job with the Yankees, but he had no interest in such an aggravation-filled job. At its $350,000 salary, a $150,000 cut from what he had been earning as a manager of the St. Louis Cardinals before they fired him in June. His brother Frank Torre did not think managing the Yankees was worth the hassle either. After all, Steinbrenner had changed managers 21 times in his 23 seasons of ownership, adding Buck Showalter to the bloody casualty list by running him out of town after Showalter refused to acquiesce to a shakeup of his coaching staff. It didn't matter to Steinbrenner that the Yankees reached the playoffs for the first time in 14 years, even if it was as the first American League wildcard team in a strike-shortened season. Showalter's crimes, in Steinbrenner's book, were blowing a 2-1 lead in the best-of-5 division series against the Seattle Mariners and resisting the coaching changes. "Why do you want this job?" Frank Torre asked his brother. "It's a no-lose situation for me," Joe replied. "I need to find out if I can do this or not." Richmond also had recommended to Steinbrenner 3 managers with higher profiles and greater success than Torre: Sparky Anderson, Tony La Russa, and Davy Johnson. None of those choices panned out. Anderson retired, La Russa took the managing job in St. Louis, and Johnson, returning to his ball-playing roots, took the job in Baltimore. La Russa and Johnson received far more lucrative contracts than what Steinbrenner wanted to pay his next manager. "I've got to admit I was the last choice," Torre said. "It didn't hurt my feelings because it was an opportunity to work and find out if I can really manage. I certainly was going to have the lumber." On Wednesday, November 1st, Bob Watson, in his 9th day on the job as general manager after replacing Gene Michael, called Torre while Torre was driving to a golf course in Cincinnati. Watson summoned him to an interview in Tampa, Florida. That evening, Torre met with Steinbrenner, Watson, Michael, assistant general manager Brian Cashman, and Joe Malloy, Steinbrenner's son-in-law and a partner with the team. The next morning, Torre was introduced as the manager of the Yankees at a news conference in the Stadium Club of Yankee Stadium, standing in the same spot where Showalter had stood 12 months earlier, as the 1994 American League Manager of the Year. It was an inauspicious hiring in most every way. Steinbrenner did not bother to attend the introductory event of his new manager. The press grilled Torre. Not only had Torre been fired 3 times, but also he was 55 years old and brought with him a losing record, 894 to 1,003, not one postseason series victory, and the ignominy of having spent more games over a lifetime of playing and managing without ever getting to the World Series than any other man in history. Torre was a highly accomplished player, even a star player, for 18 seasons with the Braves, Cardinals, and Mets. He was named to 9 All-Star teams and won 1 Most Valuable Player award with the Cardinals in 1971. When he played his last game in 1977, Torre was one of only 29 players in baseball history to have amassed more than 2,300 hits and an OPS of 128, a measurement of combined on-base and slugging percentages adjusted for league averages and ballpark effects, thus making era-to-era comparisons more equitable. His career profile, however, was dimmed by never having played in the postseason. Torre's baseball acumen and leadership skills were so highly regarded that the Mets named him a player-manager at age 36 during the 1977 season. He ceased playing that same year, the first of his 5 years managing awful Mets teams. When the Mets fired him after the 1981 season, the Braves, owned by Ted Turner, quickly snapped him up. Torre immediately led the Braves to their first division title in 13 years. He lasted only 2 more seasons with Turner's Braves. Torre spent almost 6 years out of baseball, serving as a broadcaster with the California Angels, until the Cardinals hired him to replace the popular Whitey Herzog in 1990. Those 5 seasons were the only seasons in which Torre did not play or manage in the major leagues, since he broke in as a 20-year-old catcher in 1960 with the Milwaukee Braves, a team that also included Hall of Famers Hank Aaron, Eddie Matthews, and Warren Spahn, and Joe's brother Frank. One of Torre's great strengths as a manager was that he understood what it was like to both star and struggle at the major league level. For instance, he hit .363 when he won the MVP award in 1971, and 74 points lower the very next year. "And I tried just as hard both years," he said. One day in 1975 with the Mets, Torre became the first player in National League history to ground into 4 double plays, each of them following a single by second baseman Felix Millen. He reacted to such infamy with humor. "I'd like to thank Felix Millen for making all of this possible," he said. At his introductory news conference, Torre displayed his cool demeanor and ease in front of a hostile media crowd. He answered questions with humor and optimism, and did not hesitate to talk about his lifetime goal of winning the World Series, something the Yankees had not done in 17 years, the longest drought for the franchise, since it won its first in 1921. He knew Steinbrenner had grown restless. "When you get married, do you think you're always going to be smiling?" Torre said at the news conference. "I try to think of the potential for good things happening. That's the World Series. I know here we'll have the ability to improve the team. To have that opportunity is worth all the negative sides."